Hello, and welcome to this session of um, warming up your voice exercises for the male voice. So I'm going to run through some helpful exercises that you can hopefully use every day before you maybe start your choir session, or if you working on a solo piece. I hope that you would run through these basic exercises. This helps us to, like any athlete, um, they would really warm up the body before a big event. And I would hope that you would treat your voice also with care. And remember, it's two tiny little muscles that does a lot of lifting for us. So really try and warm up the whole instrument. So the first thing that I said here is tongue stretches. You can actually, even before tongue stretches, just do a little bit of stretching the body, sort of twisting, stretching your neck. You can even give yourself a little bit of a neck massage. If you may be standing in choir, sort of turn to your body and do a little bit of chopsticks on each of his shoulders, right? Just to get sort of rounding the shoulders. Just getting flexible, just feeling like the body is supple and engaged, full of energy, and there's no sort of tension. That's really, really important. So then our first exercise that I want to introduce is tongue stretches. Now, tongue stretches is really nice and simple. I'm going to stop sharing here for a second so you can just see what I'm doing here clearly. There we go. So tongue stretches. Why is it so important? Because the tongue forms such a big part of our sound, and we want the tongue just to do what it should be doing and not really impede or influence our sound in any sort of negative way. So a nice and easy way to stretch the tongue, because it's such a strong muscle, is just to first just stretch the tongue straight out. So I'm going to, very nice and simple. And I would encourage you to do it for about 5 seconds. So we're going to go first straight out. Then we're going to go to either side. Let's go to the left first. Then to the other side. Then we want to sort of stretch the tongue up for 5 seconds. And then right after that, you just want to sort of give a yawn. Just with the tongue sort of just in a very natural position. You'll immediately will feel that the tongue is really nice and loose. So I would sort of say that you should probably do that at least 2 to 3 times. Let's run through it one more time. So we're just going to go straight out. To the left. This side. Straight up. And then a yawn. And it's totally fine to do in the falsetto and then just sort of come straight up. So if after you've done that a few times, you'll feel like, oh my goodness, my tongue feels nice and loose. My only caution is, of course, don't do it where people might think that you're sticking your tongue out at them and making fun of them. So probably not best to do it in the car as you're driving past other people, or maybe in front of your friends. But that's really something that is really helpful for us. So that's tongue stretches. Okay, please refer back to the video, that's one of the videos that we've made about posture and breath. And this is an exercise that actually has come to us for hundreds of years. And in that video, remember, we want to have this feeling, the body should feel buoyant. It should never feel like it's locked, okay? So there's one extra really big step here, which is really important. That's the suspend part, the suspension, right? So we're going to inhale for that amount of counts, for 5 counts, so nice and slow. You can either do it through the nose or through the mouth, right? Feel like the body is really expanding. And then just sort of feel like you're holding the body, but not climbing down on it. You'll feel almost like the body feels like it's still expanding, although you're not taking out any more breath. Keep the glottis, where our vocal cords is, just keep it open. Don't close it down like if you're going to lift something really heavy, right? That's that grunt noise that you have, and that's where we close the glottis. So just keep the voice and the mouth a little bit open, and feel how the body just expands. Feel the body expanding really all around you in a 360. The front ribs, the side ribs, the back ribs, and very important, remember to release that abdominal muscle so that we can get a nice diaphragmatic descent. And then very important on the exhalation. And now this you can just do on a sibilant, let's say on an S or on an F. Try not to cram down on the body. Try and feel those muscles that you felt on the inhalation. Try and keep those muscles active. So really, if you think of a balloon, we blow up the balloon. Now the balloon is not tight. The balloon is nice and bouncy, buoyant is the big word for that. And then as you exhale, try and keep that buoyancy in the body. So try and keep the body really nice and big. Don't bear down and just let the balloon deflate, right? So you want to try and keep those muscles of the inhalation really active and not give over to the exhalation muscles. So I will demonstrate that once. So you can see that we increase the amount of time. So 5 counts, and then 6 counts, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Just a word of caution, as you do this, as the times get longer and longer, try not to feel like the body is tight or held in any way. Keep the body very supple, very engaged, but very sort of, doesn't feel like you're grabbing anything, okay, or pushing anything. So let's try that. So remember, just get the camera right. We want to feel these muscles all the way around. We want to feel like they are expanding, right? So if I just do the 5 count, you can do it either through the nose or through the mouth. So we're going to breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep the mouth open. That's the suspension. Feel how, even though you're not taking in more breath, feel how the body keeps on almost filling in all of these pockets, right? So that's my suspension. And now try and keep this feeling of inhalation active as you exhale. And then just release the abdominal muscles again, right? So here it is again. Let's do it for 6 counts. So I'm going to breathe in through the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Suspend. 1, feel like the body, just keep it open, keep it flexible. 4, 5, 6. Exhale. And we just stay in that suspended state. How did you do? Now, of course, you can just increase that each time as you feel the breath. You've got more control over your breath, right? So it's sort of a controlled exhalation, right? But really keeping that the inhalation muscles active. Okay, don't give over. It's a little bit of a fight, right? And that's a way for us to really warm up the body and warm up the breath as well. So that's really, and you really get a sense of managing our breath. Very important. Okay, so we talk about buoyancy in the body, and that's really important because this buoyancy, we never want to feel like the body is locked, okay? So most of you probably have got dogs, or your friend maybe have a dog, and you know that when they're really tired, they always pant, right? So let me just stop sharing here for a second. So panting for us as singers is really, really helpful because we get a sense that in panting that the body doesn't lock, right? So it doesn't have to start off really fast. And I know a lot of you might struggle with this, but actually, if we just laugh, right? If your friend tells you a funny joke and you go, that's very close already to what a pant should be. So we're going to go. So we can see that the body responds very nicely to that. So don't go too fast first. Just keep it just get that action. And if you lose that, just think of something funny and laugh to yourself and go, laugh at yourself. So we can feel that the body really responds and is really active in that sort of making of that sound. So it's the same thing for panting. We're going to go. We can feel that the body stays nice and loose and very nice and active and buoyant. So now you can speed it up. Once you get sort of a hang of it, you can make it a little bit faster. So start off slow and go. And you should feel like you're having a little bit of that abdominal workout there. That's really that's helping to strengthen our core and to keep those just keep the body really active in very simple and lame terms. And it's something that we really need for our good vocal production. So the little exercise that I gave here, once you get sort of a hang of panting, I would say put a little S, again, the sibilant S, one F, both are unvoiced, and you're just going to go. Just like you would normally when you pant, right? Or then with an F, you're going to go almost like blowing out a candle. Once again, I just want you to notice here, as I put it back on my main screen, if I go, you can see that here on my on this sort of area right here. Don't want to confuse you with terms or anything if it's not important. There's a buoyancy rate that's sort of like it is sort of bouncing, right? And the body just naturally, you don't have to produce the bounce or anything like that. Just the body will just naturally respond to making that sound. So that's a really good exercise and a good warm-up exercise just to get buoyancy in the body and get flexibility. And because we're going to need that a little bit later. Now, we'll build a little bit on this panting exercise in a bit. Okay, now we actually have to try and make sort of sounds, right? So the first one is you can either do, sometimes it's hard for students to do a tongue drill, especially if they cannot roll their tongue. It takes a lot of little practice if it's not part of your, especially your speech. But just work on it. It's almost like the air is coming over the top of the tongue, and the tongue is sort of pushed against the hard palate. You can also put a D. That's sort of the same feeling that you should have for the R. But to make it easy, so you can either do a tongue roll, and I'll demonstrate both, or a lip roll, right? So we're just going to go sort of in middle range, since this is for guys. So you're just going to go the C below, middle C, right? And you're just going to go from C to the G. So you're going to go, let's do lip roll first. And if you need to take a breath, you can take a breath, okay? I would do it right at each time that you return back to the C, right? And it's not about speed, so don't think that you have to do it really, really fast. What we're trying to do is that we're just trying to equalize the breath that we have a steady a flow of breath, right? If you think just of a nice stream or a river, that river just flows evenly, right? So that's exactly what we want. So we just want to charge the body to just produce a nice equalized breath flow. If I do it with a tongue trill, we're going to go. So of course that one brings a little bit of flexibility in the tongue and looseness in the tongue. The other one, of course, brings a lot of looseness here in the lips. Now that's the C, and then of course you can move it up. Let's move it up by half step and speed it up a little bit. And then with tongue trill. Let's move it up another half step. I just alternated the lip and the tongue trill there, okay? It's something very sort of in medium voice, just on that fifth. It doesn't have to be, just keep it very simple. Remember, we're just warming up the breath and we're warming up the voice. The next one that is really, really helpful is humming, right? So using our M, right? And we're just using little sirens, right? This one, it starts on the B. You can do any intervals, right? So you can let's start on C, and let's just do a third, a fifth, and the octave. So we're gonna. So just very nice and relaxed. We become very much. If I go. If you say, ooh, that smelled really good, or ooh, that tasted really good, we want to go, and we really become aware of these sort of vibrations on the front side of the face, right? As we say here, singing terms, singing in the mask, right? That's really, really important. We also just engage the thin side of the chord, so it's really nice and easy on the chords. So it's a great little warm-up exercise. And really important here is to give yourself permission to just slide. That helps with the transition between all of the registers and the mechanics that goes into producing that sound. So just give yourself a permission just to slide. Don't go. Can you hear that? I'm changing gears quite starkly, right? Quite dramatically. So just so just slide up and down, and then you can go up the octave and another half step. Just slide up and down. Make sure that the tongue stays nice and fronted. Don't pull back on the tongue. Keep the tip of the tongue. Most tongues are long enough. Keep the tip of the tongue right behind the bottom teeth, and it keeps it nice and flabby. Don't pull in or anything, and definitely don't pull back on the tongue. Okay, so that's nice and humming. The last one that on this page is sirens, and sirens is just like what the word says. If I hear like an ambulance or anything, or a fire truck coming down the street, I'm just sort of going to emulate that sound, okay, and simulate it. I'm just going to go. Usually, I like to use like a back vowel, so an ooh or an or, something that's very heady, and we start sort of low in the rate. And this is not about a specific pitch. You're just going to go. So just sort of, excuse me, just sort of back and forth, and then you're just going to go. Careful here. Can you see? I'm not. Let me put it on the other screen. I'm not going. If I do it from the side, I'm not going. You can hear how the tone changes, right? So I'm just trying to keep it here in this sort of vertical back column. So I'm just allowing my vocal cords to do the change. I'm not dictating the pitch with my chin. If you have a trouble with that, just put one finger here Ooh. So just sort of back and forth, just making little sirens. And that's a great way just to get a little bit of flexibility in the voice and warming up the voice. Good. So our next slide is building on our little panting and then following it by legato. Remember we said that little buoyancy. Now we're just going to put a little ah vowel, and we'll start here in middle voice again for the guys. And we just start here on the A. Ah, 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 ah. We each one of those, we want to feel there's a little bit of bounciness here on the abdomen, right? And if you lose that, just think of a laugh again. And the body just naturally does that. So we want to alternate that with a staccati. Once you get that, then alternate one staccati with legati. So we're going to go Make sure that you don't put little H's in between those as you descend, right? And then you can go slightly up, or you can come down again. So let's go down. Down again. So just nice and simple. It gives the same feeling that I'm not slamming down on the body when I switch from staccati to legato singing, right? I'm still trying to keep the same feeling in the body. Nasal consonants are really, really helpful for us, as we've already seen that we become, with the sirens, that we become very much aware of our frontal resonance, right? So you can either use M, if I say nose, that's an N, right? Or an M, mother. Or if I say like in the word sing, right? So any of those you can substitute. And what's nice here is that you pick an easy range note, let's say A below middle C. So we're going to just put a nasal consonant before each one of our standard vowels, E, A, R, O, U, right? So we're going to go So what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to feel these, what we call sympathetic vibrations, these vibrations on the face, and transfer that to my vowel. So I'm not doing this. Can you hear that the vowel is falling back into the throat, right? So I'm just sort of trying to really keep these frontal resonances, the sound really nice and alive, bright, and it's really nice and fronted. We can also do, and then you can substitute that with an M or an NG. So you can go. So you'll feel for each one of the N, the M, and the NG that it sort of vibrates slightly at a different place. For each one, it's individual for each person because our bone structure is made up specifically just for you. So you might just not feel it exactly where you feel, where your frame feels it, but you should become very much aware of these frontal resonances. And then we can just sort of alternate the vowel. We can start with a sort of a center vowel, na, ne, ni, move forward, and then go backwards. Na, ne, ni, no, no. And you'll feel that sense as well. Careful then not to use the jaw. I'm not going na, ne. That's all just the tongue. Na, ne. So I'm just using the tip of the tongue there. Little staccati work is really, really important. So here we can just start on something nice and easy. Let's start on low, on the C below middle C, the octave. Ba, 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 ba. That helps us to keep the B is b, b, helps us to build up a little bit of good pressure in the mouth. I'm not getting too much into that. Just trust me, it's good for you. And we keep the body nice and buoyant. And we can also do la or pa. Each one of them is just making sure that the articulators are nice and free. La, 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 la. Careful there not to use the jaw, right? Don't go la, 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 la. Same with ka, 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 ka. That helps us to keep the soft palate a little bit higher so that we make sure that the soft palate stays, stays nice and high throughout the whole phrase. Ka, ka, ka. Soft palate, if you don't know, the soft palate is exactly there where that uvula, your little bell in the back of your throat hangs. That's your soft palate, okay? So the ka helps us with that. Ka, 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 ka. And then you can just go up. Ba, 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 ba. La, 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 la. So any of those little staccato, but make sure that the body stays nice and buoyant. The last one that I like to do is just a little bit of movement in the voice. And this you can sort of start low in the voice, sort of around middle C, or I mean the C below middle C, even the B or the B flat, anything like that. And just start with a front vowel, which is E or E, and then go to maybe a central vowel, A, or you can go to a back vowel, A, E to U, E to O, any of those. So just nice. You don't have to go super fast, but take it at the tempo that you want. So you can just go any speed that you want, but if preferably want to really speed that up eventually so it goes nice and fast. Haven't done much singing this morning, so I'm warming up with you. So there we go. Here's something that is nice and smooth, and it just gets the flow going, the breath flow going, and it just gets the voice going as well. So yes, those are sort of just some basic vocal warm-up exercises for the guys. Very important, start sort of in middle voice for the guys. Don't start right on top, don't start right at the bottom. And then gradually expand from the middle voice speech range into your higher or lower range. Don't neglect both sides of the voice. I hope you have fun. Very important. Keep on and make this part of your daily exercises. Whenever you have a time between class periods or at home, always warm up your voice before you start singing, just to safeguard the voice. The voice still has to last a long time. Have fun, and I hope you have a great day.